But we're also getting a big piece of breaking news where a series of big explosions, ladies and gentlemen, have been reported from Gaza as the Israeli army launches a fresh offensive. We're also getting access to those visuals of the Israeli army's offensive in the Gaza Strip as the IDF continues to target the Hamas infrastructure. Those visuals on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, as the IDF, both using artillery as well as aerial bombardment, is targeting the Hamas infrastructure. Those visuals on your screen from the Gaza Strip as the war continues to escalate in the region. Also, Israel finding itself in the middle of a two-front war with attacks coming in from the Hezbollah group. Also, what we are seeing that in Yemen, the Houthi rebels are also up in arms. With those visuals on your screen where the IDF continues the bombardment in the Gaza Strip targeting the Hamas infrastructure, but many civilians also being caught in the crossfire, which is why many powers are asking Israel to ramp down its military operations given the civilian casualties continue to rise in the Gaza Strip. I'm joined, Abhishek continues to be with us on the broadcast. Abhishek, so these visuals coming in from the Gaza Strip, even as many Western powers are impressing upon Israel to ratchet down the military operations given the rising civilian casualties, Israel is committed to eradicate Hamas in the wake of the ghastly October 7 terror attack.
So, well, Ashman, while we are talking, there are still sirens that are going off right now in many southern cities of Israel. That is Ashkelon and Ashdod region surrounding Gaza Strip. The war or the counteroffensive that Israeli government has launched against Hamas terrorists in Gaza is being retaliated or sometimes being, given a reply from the Hamas side while they are firing rockets continuously on the many southern cities of Israel. That is one part of the story. Now, on the northern frontiers, Israel is again facing a strong opposition from Hezbollah. They have been continuously firing and targeting Israeli locations. Now, Israeli government is claiming that they have targeted 5 locations of Hezbollah. 4 anti-tank guns have been destroyed, and one watchtower has been, brought down. There has been some miscalculation and misfire also when yesterday one of the Israeli tanks fired on an Egyptian location which was trying to let the humanitarian supplies enter Gaza. There is a lot of communication, a lot of misinformation, miscommunication, and panic-stricken armies are being sometimes trigger happy that they are firing without being precisely sure whether they are targeting an enemy location or it is just a humanitarian convoy. And that has been the story why we have seen high number of casualties happening in Gaza, about 4,000 people, thousands of them children, women, elderly. Nobody has been spared with the cruelty and the brutality of war from both the sides. We have seen terrorist attack happening in Israel that also resulted in killing of dozens of kids, children and youngsters and elderly people. And the counteroffensive have also resulted in thousands of killings. That is a huge story that the world is trying to ensure that doesn't escalate further. But Israel doesn't seem to be buzzing down unless and until they have taken its full revenge, and that is to destroy and destruct entire network of Hamas, which doesn't seem to be happening right away because of Hamas terrorists being so deeply embedded in the civilian population of Gaza that it will be really difficult to distinguish between them and to eliminate every single individual who has been a Hamas terrorist or a sympathizer. So as long as that doesn't stop, Israel has vowed it will continue its war against terrorism, and that will mean many more hundreds of civilian casualties as well. And that is where the world is trying to bring down Israeli anger, Israeli rage against people of Gaza.
Absolutely, and Abhishek, because of that, we are seeing the PR narrative also shifting, ladies and gentlemen. You can see these visuals on your screen, the bombardment that is taking place in the Gaza Strip as the IDF continues the offensive. It is targeting those Hamas strongholds. But as Abhishek is pointing out, Hamas is so well entrenched with the civilian population in the Gaza Strip that the civilian casualties continue to mount. So in the wake of the October 7 terror attack, when the entire world was condemning Hamas and in Israel's corner, now you can see the narrative is shifting towards Palestine given the rising civilian casualties. And Abhishek, many reports suggest that Hamas recruitment in the Gaza Strip is now through the roof as Israel continues this counteroffensive.
Well, and of course, they are getting a lot of support from the people also because of the latest killing that has resulted because of the Israeli airstrike. People are in Gaza are also raised. They are angry. They are frustrated. because of the occupation of Israel, because of Israeli blockages. Israel haven't cared much about the humanitarian crisis there, and that is one frustration that the people in Gaza are having. And this anger, this frustration is exactly what Hamas group is trying to cash upon against Israeli forces. And what you are saying about the recruitment stuff, that is, of course, going well and in a very aggressive manner, where people who have lost their families, people who have lost their friends and loved ones, they are totally siding along with Hamas. So Hamas, which did not have that much of ground support earlier, before the terrorist attack that happened on 7th of October, is now a very popular force, increasingly becoming a popular force in Gaza. And that is, again, a very huge problem for the Israeli government, because when they will start the ground operation inside Gaza, it's not the exactly terrorists that they'll be fighting for, or the guerrilla warfare that they are afraid for. It will be the humanitarian shield that the Hamas will have against, protecting them. It will be the normal civilian who will be having sympathy towards Israel, towards Hamas terrorists, and that will be a real difficult challenge for Israeli ground invasion. In fact, the 15 or 20 days that has gone by ever since the terrorist attack and the ground invasion, which has not started yet, one of the reasons is that Israelis are not pretty much sure if they will enter the Gazan territory as a major ground offensive, how much of casualties or how much of damage they themselves will inflict upon because of the highly placed and well-entrenched Hamas terrorists. So the entire operation that Hamas has been conducting from Gaza is getting a lot of support from the people, especially with the rising casualties of civilians and the humanitarian crisis that the world is seeing. That ground support or the civilian support for Hamas is surely getting a lot of traction right now.
Absolutely. And given the raging conflict, given the disparity in military power between Palestine and Israel, the tacit or the back channel support, be it weapons, be it logistics, even diplomatic support from the Arab nations is only expanding. Now, let's listen into reactions coming in from the war zone.
No, I've never seen anyone face such slaughter, like we are animals and you slaughter them, and it's not human, it's not humane what they did here. I don't think we've seen anything like this except for maybe ISIS or the Holocaust. So this is a farm community, very peaceful people, peace activists actually, around 1,200 of them learning, farms, artists, a very quiet life. We are 2.5 miles, 4 kilometers from Gaza, and it's very flat land. And people were going about their business and did not expect. They've lived under mortar fire for years, but did not expect this to happen.
A second contributor to volatility is conflict in a globalized world, where consequences spread far beyond the immediate geography. We have already experienced this in respect of Ukraine. The ripple impact of what is taking place right now in the Middle East is still not entirely clear. Now, these particular cases may be headline news, but in different regions there are smaller happenings whose impact is not inconsequential. In the domain of violence, there is also the less formal version, if you would, that is very pervasive. I speak here of terrorism, which has long been honed and practiced as a tool of statecraft. The basic takeaway for all of us is that given the seamlessness of our existence, any expectation that conflicts and terrorism can be contained in their impact is no longer tenable. A big part of this is clearly economic, but do not underestimate the danger of metastasis when it comes to radicalism and extremism. No danger is too distant anymore.
Destroying Hamas is non-negotiable. How we do it, let's talk.